A millennia has passed since my last TFT video, and all of my TFT viewers, of which there are multiple, have been patiently waiting for the return of the king. Someone to do literally anything other than just re-upload extremely high roll games from their streams. Someone to put literally any inkling of effort whatsoever. Don't worry guys, the king is back, the kid Casper's back. Everybody calm down, everybody relax. I'm wearing my suit today because we're getting straight to business today. Hey, we're getting straight to business. The set came out 2 weeks ago. The meta has settled in quite nicely. Now there is one comp that is essentially the equivalent of a Modern Warfare 2 25 kill streak, an actual nuclear bomb dropped on literally every lobby. Except to get 25 kills in Modern Warfare 2, you at least had to be sober for the most part. Playing Sorcerers is good because you can be tripping balls, playing Magic the Gathering with Tupac's Ghost, and all of a sudden you look up and there's a karma in your shop. And suddenly you understand, wow, this is a top 2. And Tupac doesn't even have his commander out yet. This is the easiest game of my life. Oh my God. Now that is a shop. Let me show you. Stay here on my board real quick. Let me show you.
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead. Oh! Oh!
So the new patch is out today, and they nerfed a lot of comps, primarily Gangplank. Thank God, my goodness, they need to put that character to the sword. But they barely nerfed Sorcerers. They took 10 AP off with absolutely zero nerfs to any of the units. That should do it. Gwen got changed just because there's that stupid build where if you have a bunch of snipers focused, Gwen turns into a napalm strike on your entire board. But these are my top 5 best comps to climb in the new patch right here. Stick around to the end because I'm going to show you guys what I think is going to be the strongest comp with the patch alongside Sorcerers. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Whoa. Why should we listen to this random guy's opinion? Well, again, I don't want to be that guy, but I did reach Grandmaster last season, 526 LP. And then I stopped playing for 3 weeks and decayed, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, let's get started off with a pretty self-explanatory one. Crystal, Gambit, / Ashe. Well, I'm going to put those together because they play a lot of the same units and they're kind of whatever. They're kind of similar. Now, they did change the way this works, but the overall idea remains the same. I've played a grand total of 2 games of Crystal Gambit this set. The most recent of which was a Trainer Golem game. And now anybody that knows me knows I love Trainer Golems. I absolutely adore Trainer Golems. It's my favorite thing they ever added into this game. Nothing makes me happier than when the little text shows up at the top of the screen and it tells me this is going to be a Trainer Golem game. Whenever that happens, I take a little piece of paper and I just write down where the tallest building in my area is. You know, just in case. You know, just in case of an emergency. You know, if I get bit by a spider and I need to go out there and see if I'm Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Like, I just gotta make sure, I gotta make sure I keep that in mind. You know what I mean? So I got Crystal Gambit, and I felt something kind of bubbling up inside, like an emotion I can't quite describe all the way. You know what I mean? It's like I think it was joy. It's Trainer Golems, and I can actually play the game. Because it gave me good emblems. I can play the game. Thank God. My game was not decided at 2-1. So anyway, fast forward. 4-1 comes around. There's a guy that's contesting me, so I check his board. And he hit Ashe 2, Zyra, Braum, and he got the cash out with the duplicator, so he also has a 3-star Swain. And now I check my board. I rolled 40 gold. I don't even have Ashe 2. So that was the last time I played Crystal and Gambit, but I do see a lot of it when I'm playing Sorcerers, and it goes without saying, this comp gets to a point where just absolutely nothing beats it. They did remove the cash out where you could get a Flicker Blade, which really just makes you think, why was that even there in the first place? I don't know, But this comp gets to a point where if you save enough health in the early game and you just get infinite cash outs, nothing beats it. Don't even bother. You might as well sell your entire board and go for Poppy 3. That should be pretty good. Now, some tips for Crystal Gambit. Like I said, they did just change it, so I'm sure the micro of this comp changed as well. But for the most part, you only want to play this if you get an early Ashe or if you have a +1. You don't actually play vertical Crystal Gambit from lose streak. If you're lose streaking, you want to lose streak, cash out into another comp, into Sorcerers, Yuumi, whatever Ashe comp, into Cassante. Like, they nerfed it, so I don't know how good that is, but you get my point. You only play vertical Gambit if you get it early and you can win with it. You don't want to lose with it. Ashe Juggernaut is pretty self-explanatory. It's like Vanguard Marksman of last set. You get good items for Ashe, you win early, and then you bleed out into like a third. It's extremely consistent. But you could also play it off Crystal Gambit, and then, that's definitely how you top 1, top 2 with this. A vast majority of the time, you're going to want to cash out of Gambit and play another comp entirely. You do not stay with Gambit unless you have a +1 or you get an early Ashe you can win with it. Next up is Star Guardian. Now, thing about this comp is, I know this comp is ass. The stats say this comp is ass. I asked my mom. She said, Star Guardian slurps ass through a crazy straw. Verbatim, that's what she said. She barely even speaks English, but she said that clean. However, maybe I'm a victim of the infinite trainer golem games that I've played, but Star Guardian +1 is absolutely busted. And don't let somebody get 2 or more Star Guardian emblems, because then it just turns into an absolute circus. You get a unit to have health, all of a sudden they turn into the Undertaker, and they're back to full health. Infinite shields, more attack speed than Harambe at a kindergarten. You don't even know what you're losing to. And then Seraphine loads up the Spirit Bomb and you're just watching it come down on you like you're Willem Dafoe, which every time it happens it reminds me to update my graphics drivers because it damn near crashes my computer. Also, apparently there was a bug where Jinx wasn't gaining attack speed like she was supposed to. So now this comp might actually not be too bad. The tip to play Star Guardian is you want to play this from a win streak. You want to be strong. Like that's the main thing. You can't play this from a lose streak. Trust me, I found this out the hard way. These types of verticals are always supposed to be super strong stage 4 and 5, but fall off at the end. So you want to use your health lead to bleed out into a third or a fourth. You also want to play Star Guardian from an AP opener. I know that sounds kind of weird because you're playing Jinx, but there's not a lot of units that hold items well for Jinx. Like Xayah is caca with IE. Jhin doesn't really use IE, but I guess it's fine. Gnar doesn't use IE. I guess Sivir, if you want to play Sivir. They did buff Kai'Sa, so maybe Kai'Sa, but early Sorcerers are really strong, so tempo into Star Guardian, and then pick up the Jinx items as you go. I guess we actually have to talk about this. Akali. This little nugget promoting positive mental health is the latest comp to invade my lobbies, and all you need to play it is a brain cell and a dream. There's some positioning things you can do to not get one shot by Akali, but even so, the fact she drops aggro, if she gets that one power up where she can overshield, just makes her absolutely unkillable. She'll just go infinite on you, to eventually she just takes out your carry regardless of what you do. This comp, how do I say this politically correct? This comp needs to be sent to the gallows to hang from the neck until it's dead. It's literally every anti-fun mechanic rolled into one, but it's a very strong comp, and if you're not 5-way contested, it's a very consistent way to climb, so we gotta put it here until it gets taken out by the legs. 6 Sorcerers, continuing the trends of things that got nerfed, but not actually. 6 Sorcerers still very strong, and probably still the highest capping comp, all things considered. Still has the best openers, still has the best mid game, and if you play this comp, you still have no bitches. Needless to say, this is one of my most played comps. You definitely need an econ augment to play this comp though, especially if you're contested for some ungodly reason. Maybe I did something to Riot in a past life. I don't know. I can't get econ augments. I just can't do it. And then I look across the muggles contesting me and they've got like 5 different econ augments. So after I looked up the price of rope, I made a decision to never play this comp without an econ augment. I will say this comp feels a lot less stable on 1 stars than it did before. So you do actually need the extra econ now, whereas before you could, kind of be 3-way contested and still just kind of hang out. Swain 2, Ahri 2, it will still not be that bad. But now I feel like you actually do need 2 stars to be able to stabilize. Before we reveal the final comp, I want to just take a second to talk about some of the honorable mentions here. First, Katarina. Every time Katarina is in a set, it's the absolute most disgusting character of that set. Nothing makes me more sick to my stomach than watching these ugly muggles trap Cat in the corner, and then she just teleports to my backline and dances on my corpse. So that got nerfed. Cat's not even bad in the stats. You just need an actual win con through like Radiant items or Ornn items now. This is one comp that I still don't have a great grasp on. Smolder reroll. Smolder reroll is confusing. On one hand, Smolder 3 feels really good, and if you can get to it, you're in a great spot. On the other, Smolder 2 feels like you're taking 9 gold and swiping it up and down your butt cheeks like a credit card. So until you hit Smolder 3, you're basically just playing Crystal Gambit, but your cash out is a lucrative golden shower from the developers, because 2-star Smolder is complete ass. And then there's also the idea of the front lines. You can play Protectors, or you can play Juggernauts. Personally, if you can hit Nico 3, Protectors cap higher, but that's going to be tough to do in the new meta, so Juggernauts are going to be more consistent game in, game out. The only real tip you want on Smolder is there's a power-up you should always look for early, and it's the one that says Lulu grants you 15 levels of XP. That is disgustingly broken, and if this comp ever becomes meta, that will be the first thing they nerf. And then once you hit level 45, like in the late game, you can just switch it out for another power-up in the late game. Kayle got nerfed, which is shocking. Low Elo must be getting grittied on by Kayle every single game. I thought she was actually in a decent spot, but if Kayle hits max cap with good tempo and good combat augments, she absolutely can beat anything. And finally, the real comp we're here to talk about, Yuumi. I think this comp is going to be very good. And you know what? I think Riot thought so too, because they preemptively nerfed it before they even released it. Certainly not because it was broken before. So they nerfed it because they thought it was going to be very good if they just put out the buffs as they were. They buffed Seraphine a lot. They nerfed the mana regen a little bit, but they buffed the healing at 5. This is also one of the few comps in the game that has win conditions in the Ornn items. If you can hit Mana Zane, you win the game. If you can hit Zhonya's, you win the game. If you can hit Blighting Jewel, you win the game. If you can get a +1 Prodigy, it's extremely good. Now, there's one way you can guarantee that you win with this comp, and save this time step. You guys might want to go back and watch this again. Look very carefully here. Now, what do you notice? If you saw that I actually have 3 items on Malzahar, that is on your way to becoming a Grandmaster player. This is one of the more underrated units in this comp. You actually want items on the Malzahar. So again, if you're playing this comp, you want to make sure you look for item augments. Anything that gives you a lot of extra items is really good in this comp. There's a lot of units that need itemization. You want to put, you want to make Cassante a second tank. You want a lot of items. You want to itemize Seraphine to fully cap out. This is one of the best comps in the game, but it's entirely dependent on items if you can get them. With that said, those are my top 5 comps to climb with in patch 15.2. Peace.